Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, it is I am the one and only Mexi here once again, and I am back once again for the likes of the Mexi Toys videos. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more Let's Play of Donkey Kong 64 for the Nintendo 64. So, last time, we essentially almost finishing up everything in terms of Fungi Forest, despite the fact that we've only got one golden banana left, due to the informs about the fact that we will be back for that world once we're able to learn the next ability for Lanky Kong, just to ensure that we will be able to accomplish that, possibly at some point in next week, if at some form or another, but then again though, we shall see what happens in due time. And also we did somehow stumble across into ourselves Dorgadon, again, except the fact that we playing as Chunky Kong during the forms of that second, fight against with the forms of that particular familiar boss fight ever since in Angry Aztec, because previously we did somehow face off against with that boss with Diddy Kong since during the forms of being Angry Aztec, but in Fungi Forest it was definitely by the forms of Chunky Kong's turn, just because he doesn't come across into any boss fight so far, until now that he's already dealt with one of them. So anywho, so today for this video is the fact that we're about to be able to continue things on throughout the game and able to actually explore the next world in this game known as Crystal Caves. Now, I've already mentioned about this during the forms of in the last video, that Crystal Caves is by far my second least favorite world in the game, next to Gloomy Galleon, but I do definitely know for the fact that Gloomy Galleon is pretty much the most annoying world in the game. But I will admit though, thankfully Crystal Caves is not to the not much to the point about the fact that it's not the worst world I've ever experienced, but it definitely feels a bit infamous for most people, most notably with all that annoying missions they obviously brings us into, although we will come across into those annoying missions and doing that some form or another. But either way though, let's just go ahead and do some bit of swimming here, just to ensure that we will be able to actually just to see other sections throughout. Although, mind you about the fact that it's been about 2 days ago since I actually last recorded this, because you know how the fact that recently yesterday that Sonic, he recently finished up with Ape Escape. So, relatively speaking though, everything else will be pretty much accounted for, so we can pretty much guarantee what's going to be up next for the next couple of Let's Plays and beyond. But I can't tell you exactly what that's going to be yet. So, anyway, so the main gimmick of this level, as you can see, is the fact that one of those tougher enemies, or I don't know exactly what his name was though, well, basically though, is the fact that every once in a while he will start to able to activate a earthquake move, and basically though, it decides to able to let those spiky stuff drop from the ceiling, and it's your job to able to actually just try to avoid them, unless there is actually a way you can able to get rid of that particular enemy, but we'll save that until for later, because as far as I'm aware, oh, there's the banana blooms right up there, so we'll just pop that quickly. So yeah, in order able to actually access those areas, as you can tell, we need to use the actual Falcon Punch with the forms of like Chunky Kong, just to ensure that we will be able to actually break for those specific crystals, just to ensure that we will be able to actually access to one of those areas in between. So anywho, so yeah, because most of the time though is the fact that since this place is also filled to the brim with a lot of darkness involved, or to be more specifically, it does have some darker areas throughout, so this also means it might actually feel a bit confusion sometimes. But either way though, that's not to say about the fact that, well, we'll admit though right away, I honestly do prefer a little bit on this world compared to Gloomy Galleon, because thankfully, unlike in Gloomy Galleon, where basically you have to do a lot of swimming on that world, in here though, the only time you do swim in this world though, is the fact that you can able to actually swim into other sections of the actual Crystal Cave itself. And no, I did not mean to... so many sensitivity with the analog sticks in mind, but thankfully we did somehow switch the camera view and stuff, so we can just pop that particular banana balloon right there. I think at this point, when it comes to the actual banana balloons themselves, that every once in a while is actually going to get a lot tougher to pop, because sometimes they obviously hover around a lot faster than the forms of how it does in the forms of in the previous worlds, Although, whenever we get to the next world after this though, well, assuming of course that not only do we have to explore for the rest of the forms of Crystal Caves, but also we can able to actually finish up completely of Fungi Forest, we'll save that until the later time, so... Anyways, here we are onto another barrel blasting section, so... And I think this will pretty much lead us to the forms of, I will classify for saying another bonus barrel, because I can assure you every once in a while though that we will be able to actually stumble across into that, just like the forms of how it does it in Fungi Forest. So, speaking of that particular stuff though, is the fact I'm pretty sure with those barrel blasting segments, I suppose I forgot to mention about, that when it comes to the forms of Frantic Factory, when it comes to the actual barrel blasting sections, that basically though, that particular world is the only barrel blasting segment that doesn't have any unique music, unlike the forms of how it does it on Jungle Japes all the way up to Crystal Cave so far. So relatively speaking though, that's something I would have classified for mentioning in that, so... I can assure you we're almost there with that particular section, so... And in fact that we just somehow made it, so... We'll blast ourselves in here, and let's see what minigame are we playing next. And turns out it's none other than Busy Barrel Barrage again. Except this time, this one is actually a bit difficult in comparison to the other two counterparts, because I can assure you the only reason being is the fact that the actual Kremlings' AI is actually a lot more difficult, and on top of all that stuff though, the actual respawn points is almost instant, so you have to be super accurate with all that movement with the actual aiming shots, because yeah, this is gonna be a lot more trickier, and I think this is actually the final time we're gonna be able to play this minigame, believe it or not, because I can assure you about the fact that, well, I've mentioned this before, that with the forms of this particular minigame right here, I think you experienced that 3 times, so, at least if I recall correctly, so, at least we'll have double check on the actual minigames count list, so, but either way, that's saying something, because, well, another thing that kind of bothers me in this minigame though, especially this variation, because usually for the hitbox with the actual MO shooting, for, you know, trying to take down these Kremlings right there, sometimes I swear to God, the actual hitbox is way too picky. But as a result, though, when you're done with that though, then you should be able to accomplish that, so... It still feels a bit tricky though. 141 bananas, or golden bananas as far as I meant to say. So, yeah, all looking pretty good right there. So I see those actually, Lanky Kong's barrel right here, but we'll come across into that later, so of course we meet again with, Cranky Kong, but I don't think we were able to get anything for Donkey Kong for a little while, because I can assure you that we're only going to be picking not only 1, but 3 Kongs as well. Like, for instance, let's go and switch over to, actually, no matter what though, we'll go ahead and switch over to Diddy Kong first, just to ensure that we'll take care of the forms of other stuff first. So, because yeah, as far as I'm aware, this world will only feature 3 unique moves with each Kong, so... At least each of the 3 Kongs were able to actually have 1 special move, so in order to able to perform it. But, again, before we get into more details on that though, and I somehow got stuck, so, whoops. Because, yeah, sometimes though is the fact that I do definitely need to able to realize about, can you get up? Okay, there we go. Ah, dang, that knockback. Hey, sometimes I hate when that happens, when I was trying to able to make my way to able to get to the highest ledge, but then, next you notice, I'm about able to get stuck, so just to ensure that it doesn't feel like I was gonna able to move, you know, I don't know about you, but either way, let's just, collect some bananas right here, and right from the get-go, there's, the Funky's, store right here. So, we'll, meet up with him... Actually, yeah, let's meet up with him right now. Because I can assure you that we will be able to actually stumble across into ourselves the next upgrade. And in fact, we only need to pay for about 5 banana coins. So in this case, we now have Ammo Belt 2. So, I'm pretty sure that he can able to actually carry up to 200 ammo now. So, relatively speaking though, there's nothing you need to worry about when it comes to running out of those ammos from now on. At least I'm assuming so anyway, so... Yeah, we'll meet up with him again at some point in the next world. So, Anyways though, so let's go ahead and use the actual, the rocket barrel jetpack right here. And just to ensure that if we hit over here, not only does it contain another bunch of bananas right here for Diddy Kong, but of course, what else? Another bonus game. So in this case, Mad Max Moral. So basically, we need to take down a lot of enemies right here. So, and in fact, this is also the final time we're going to be experiencing this particular minigame challenge, because I'm pretty sure you also have to deal with this twice. So, because I'm pretty sure the last time we actually experienced this was in, I'm not exactly sure, but I'm guessing it's more accurately like Angry Aztec or something. Well, mind you, it's been a very, very, very long while since I do remember that particular stuff. So, but since we're now able to actually add it in, you know, Ksplats now, so this means about the fact that thankfully those crystal coconuts in this minigame challenge is actually infinite. So, at least you don't need to worry about just keep on wasting them. So, whilst whenever we get to the point, whenever we go back to Fungi Forest, oh boy, we'll able to actually talk more details about that at some point in next week. So, anyways, there goes that. Now let's go ahead and go to the finish line, and there we go. It's that simple. Although, mind you, because you got able to stick around with the forms of not only for those other familiar enemies we've already seen before, but also we're now able to actually need to deal with the forms of Ksplats. So, speaking of Ksplats though, there is the forms of the Ksplat right there, and of course I need to activate that number 5 pad. So just to ensure that, I think something tells me we do need Lanky Kong for that, because I definitely see that blue hair Ksplat, so it actually represents that we're definitely gonna have to grab that particular blueprint until for a certain while. So, anyways, let's go ahead and bring out Chunky Kong again. Although, I've honestly have no idea why about the fact the matter is though, although I'll get to more details about that in a moment, because, well, as you probably already know, is the fact that, well, today's day is of course is the 10th of February today, in this case in 2023 today. Naturally speaking though, is the fact that I'm pretty sure that Sonic has already mentioned about this during the course of the actual, the extra video for the likes of Ape Escape Let's Play. That basically though, is the fact that for those of you who lived in the UK or something like that, well, happy 10th anniversary of the release of Wreck-It Ralph on the UK cinemas, which I've honestly have no idea why, that looking back in it now, that basically we're able to actually receive the movie on the actual big screen later than the forms of how it does it in the North American's release. But either way though, that might be saying something, so... Anyway, so now I was going to meet up with Cranky Kong here, just to ensure that we were able to learn the next new move for Chunky Kong. Now, out of all the actual moves for this game so far, this one is by far the most bizarre one, Gorilla Gone, which basically means, I think this allows you to able to become invincible, which allows you to able to actually just sneak past through certain stuff. I know it's a bit bizarre and also stupid at the same time, but either way though, I'm guessing the reason why that ability exists is because, well, you'll find out more on that later, so... Anyway, so let's go and switch over to Tiny Kong, because she can also manage to able to learn a new move. This one is also kind of bizarre, but either way though, let's just see what the next move is she going to learn next. So, in some cases, it's the Monkey Port, which I believe this only activates if you do manage to stumble across the Tiny Kong's pad, and basically though, it kind of functions kind of like the same thing as Banana Pod, except the fact that, well, basically it's only specifically for Tiny Kong. So, I know it seems a bit weird to say this, but either way though, that's a bit strange at the same time, so... But anyways, now let's go in here as Lanky Kong, because, as I mentioned this before, we do need to learn the next move until we go back to Fungi Forest eventually. So here we are, onto the forms of, probably is the most coolest ability for him. That's what appears to be Orangutan Sprint, which basically is kind of like the same thing as the original Orangutan, except you run much faster. And basically, that's when the crystal coconuts will come into play. So, and that was it basically. And now we can able to actually head back to Fungi Forest, but not for a little long while, just because we need to able to take care of the rest of the forms of Crystal Caves first. So, just in case for no distractions. So, And something's also worth noting for is the fact that, yeah, I managed to have a bit of a... Well, I don't know about you, because it's been 2 days since I actually last recorded this, as you know. But, something's worth mentioning, though, is the fact that, yeah, I did manage to still have some fun with, Mario Kart Tour's, Exploration Tour. Because, obviously, with that new unique track, obviously, it's pretty cool. Like, I've already mentioned about this during the course of it in the last 2 days, so I don't feel like trying to mention about that again. But, either way, though, now let's go ahead and, you know, take control of Tiny Kong for a while, just to ensure that we will be able to double check on certain spots or specific segments worth noting for. To be more specifically, there's some bananas for her, just onto the actual water itself that we can able to actually just to swim through, so... But yeah, sometimes the actual... Oh yeah, there was actually the most important element on this world. That's what appears to be this giant igloo, which we don't feel like trying to able to go through there just yet, because we'll take care of the forms of some sections first, before you're able to actually save the igloo. In fact, no matter what though, I'll save the igloo for later, for last, because, well, before the actual boss fight, so... But even then, no, we're not gonna able to spoil things majorly just yet, though, so... And also, short things worth noting for is the fact that, well, I can't believe by saying this, mind you, it has been a very long while since I actually mentioned about this, but basically, though, is the fact that, well, for those of you who lived in the UK, possibly, is the fact that, well, happy 10th anniversary as well, for the likes of the release of Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed for the 3DS. Well, despite the fact that I haven't touched this version for ages, because mind you, I'm used to with the forms of the console version of the game. But anyway though, so here's the forms of that Chunky Kong's pad, and if you dare press the Z button, basically you turn invincible and you see things visibly whilst any other Kong can't. So, like for instance, we actually stumbled across another golden banana right there. And again, it's a bit bizarre and stupid at the same time. Well, mind you, it does have some humor or charm to it though. Well, I don't know about you, but either way though, I think we should probably switch over back to Donkey Kong, because something tells me there was actually a banana balloon just in exactly the same spot as we've already been into earlier, so... So yeah, what if I look back on the forms of the 3DS version of Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed? That version is... alright. I mean, it's not the best version of Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed out there, because for me, personally though, I prefer the Xbox 360 version, as well as the Wii U version, just because you're able to actually get DLC already once you're able to boot up the Wii U version of the game. Because mind you, the 3DS version, that despite the fact that you can no longer get the oh gee, I just realized about the fact that we've almost gotten to the point where we're getting very, 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 very close to the point where, you know, the eShop applications is about to close, which I know seems very sad. But anyways, let's not talk about that right now, because we meet again with Candy Kong right here. So yeah, it's been a very long while, hasn't it? And basically though, if you meet up with her, she actually gives you a third melon, which means we now actually have, I would say, 12 pieces of health, so yeah, pretty awesome. But I guess, in addition to the third melon that we've got, but also she actually gives us another ammo count for using musical instruments. Well, I would say 20 counts for your musical usage, so, or the actual instruments most likely, so yeah, pretty cool, because we're able to get 2 in one price, so, or 2 stuff on one price, so yeah, pretty cool stuff. So anyways, let's go ahead and explore through the cavern sections. So, because I can assure you that some of these music pads or the instrument pads will be laying around during the forms of most of those caverns, as far as I'm aware. So let's just go ahead and tackle through, oh yeah, we did somehow activate another 5 banana pod. So just to ensure that we will be able to, yeah, let's get this out of the way with all that Lanky Kong's blueprint for that particular, you know, splat that we do need able to take care of at this point. So now I think something tells me there are some other bananas here and there as well, so we'll definitely investigate. And sure enough, it was. So yeah, let's just go ahead and knock him out. I would have liked to do like... Okay, there we go. I would have liked to do the actual, the charged up attack, but something tells me... I fell off! Ah, that wasn't a great idea, but hey, at least on the upside we got some bananas. Oh, speaking of bananas, there's some more right down there. So I think between with Lanky Kong and Tiny Kong, that both Kongs do manage to have the ability to collect bananas down the forms of that water, so... And then something tells me I'm going the correct way, because I'm pretty sure that, yeah, this particular wall has been blocked, so... Well, turns out I was in the correct track, so... Yeah, that's actually super cool and everything, for able to guess which one of those layouts I'm gonna go for, but hey. Alright, so, yeah, now we've actually gotten that, so we'll just go ahead and climb ourselves back up. And we'll switch over to a different Kong, specifically back to Donkey Kong as we go, because now we can able to actually tackle through one of those cabin sections. So let's just say, let's go ahead and activate the bongos on this pad, and from here we can able to actually deal with one of those, well, wait a second, that jingle looks familiar. Oh, wait a second, it's one of those Kasplats, isn't it? But then again, we'll point it out whenever we get to it, so... Oh god, there's a lot of trap floors. And as well as that, there's a lot of zingers as well. And unfortunately though, that was my proper first death. Because, well, it's not permanent or anything, but basically in this particular room, as you can see, we need to take down a lot of zingers in this room. So, as long as we do have the homing missile counts, then we should be okay. But we just have to do this the hard way then, so... And plus, because the reason why I somehow accidentally died during the forms of those trap floors is because, well, I got certain bananas to collect, so... There we go, golden bananas now ours to keep. Oh yeah, be very careful of not to able to come across into standing in one of those trap floors when the cutscene is somehow active, because you will also die by the forms of like, I died in a cutscene! Like, what the heck is that? I mean, couldn't imagine that. I mean, thankfully I didn't come across into that, so... Yeah, I was gonna make sure if I collected everything, aside from just more banana coins, but either way though, that's saying something. And I think we're able to meet up with, Cranky Kong again, and during at some point in the next world, until we're able to learn the final ability, which, again, we're not going to discuss on it right now, because we're still in Crystal Caves, of course. So, anyway, so now we're done with, actually, kind of think about it, we'll, switch over to Lanky Kong next, so, and, kind of think of it, because there was actually a banana balloon around here somewhere, that, we'll definitely have to focus on that first, so... Before we're able to continue things on for this point, so... Because yeah, if you ever hear that particular intense music in the background, well, basically though, is the fact that, well, Scout's able to avoid a lot of those stuff coming from above, so... Oh, there's another cabin right there, so... It's usually divided into, like, two separate, cabins right here, so, that's, something. So anyways, let's float ourselves up towards here and activate the instrument for him. And we can assure you we can able to actually tackle through the next cabin section. So I was originally trying to able to find a banana balloon around here somewhere, but I do definitely know it's somewhere on the waterfall. So we'll definitely go how to investigate that and doing at some point. So anyways, let's get inside. And from here, all we have to do in this particular room is that, well, first of all, I have no idea why I just activated that earlier, but either way, what we're supposed to do is to clear out these two enemies right here, because otherwise it'll give you a lot of troublesome at points. But basically, that is when you do realize there is actually a barrel for Lanky Kong that you can only activate with him. So, for instance, if we clear out all these enemies first, and basically, there's a switch over there. So, and I've obviously have no idea why I've activated that from the start, but basically you have 3-second time limit if you do want to go after that particular golden banana, because otherwise if time is up, basically there's no way you can able to obtain that. But unless if you go in here, you activate the Orangutan sprint, which basically, as I said before, you run a lot faster and no. Oh, you kidding me? Ah, dang it. But hopefully third time's the charm. Hopefully I can get this. There we go. Hi. I've obviously have no idea why it took me 3 tries, but either way though, it's like accidental purpose for able to actually activate one of those switches, and at the same time just Smash able to got distracted by one of those enemies that are trying to like caught me off guard. So anyways, there's part number 2, and this is Tiny Kong's Kasplat, as far as I can see, with that purple color, so for the purple hair color. So well, thankfully there's a attack barrel right here, not too far from here, so we'll go ahead and switch with her. So, and something tells me there's also I would say Chunky's bananas right here, which I'll definitely be back for that eventually. But there we go, there's the blueprint right here. In addition to that, I think there's another banana balloon in here, so assuming if my shooting skills isn't exactly perfect, but at least we got it. Alright, not doing too shabby for the most part. Well, despite the fact that sometimes it can be very confusing at times to navigate, so I think we'll go ahead and switch over back to Donkey Kong quickly, and just to see what's beyond over to this another cavern, and I think we're able to actually stumble across into ourselves another challenge right here, and defeating the Kasplat sound effect is no longer existence, so because we already take care of him after all. Oh, so it looks like we actually stumbled across a bit of a puzzle. So yeah, I'm not exactly sure what this is gonna be for, but I think also something tells me there is a battle pad, so we can able to actually just go ahead and deal with that. Oh, wait a second, this basically means I have to get an exact matching pairs to able to actually match between Donkey Kong, Diddy Kong, and you probably named the rest. You've probably seen one of these puzzles like this before, but it's just about the fact the matter is though is that, oh wait, that was for not only for Tiny Kong, but also Chunky Kong and this brown color panel. But we'll investigate that in a second, because I think I'm about to take care of the battle pad first. And for some reason I turn in black if I somehow go into the battle pad. Bit weird, but hey, at least it's something. And also with these battle pads, every now and then is the fact that the timer is now increasing, so we now need to survive this particular battle sequence within 70 seconds. So yeah, expecting to believe about the fact that this is where the point the game starts to get a bit more difficult. Well, ultimately speaking though, once you stand in the middle, then it should be alright. Just don't go near to the actual edges of the battle arena, because otherwise you will fall off, and then if you get hit, you suffer from knockback. So but either way though, that's all I'm really asking for the sake of like, well, you know what I mean. So I'm just gonna have to mainly focus on this for the most part, just in case I don't wanna screw this up. Well, thankfully, since we got ourselves the third melon, so this means we can able to actually survive as long as we want, so. And I think that was the actual point where the fact I don't think there's gonna be a fourth health upgrade, because the only maximum you can get up to is 3 melons, or should I say, well, I've already mentioned about this before, that we do have 12 units of health now, so yeah, everything else goes out for this point right there, so anyway, so now we've actually taken care of that particular battle pad, so I think we now on to the 6th crown, I'm assuming so? Well, mind you, I think I actually lost count of the forms of how much battle crowns we've got. Well, mind you about the fact that we are to the forms of, well, let's just say the 6th world, so yeah, I guess that probably explains it? But anyways though, so let's go and deal with this matching pair challenge. So of course we got able to go from the beginning, from Donkey Kong all the way up to, I would classify as saying the golden banana icon. Well, usually because you have to able to follow the correct order with all these different colors with each Kong, so it's actually pretty easy though. But the only time it's a little bit tricky though is that you have to keep on doing a lot of ground pounding those light blue switches, because that way it actually traverses through different parts of this particular cabin. So, but once you're able to deal with this just fine, then you were able to receive, what else? Another golden banana by simply accomplishing that for about 2 seconds left. So, nicely done. So I'll obtain that, while at the same time I walk straight past it, so 146. So yeah, we are definitely getting there. Although, mind you about the fact that eventually at this point, that certain worlds might feel to be a lot more lengthy. Well, I will admit though, it won't be that much lengthy compared to the forms of how it does it in Gloomy Galleon though, that's for sure. So yeah, I think we should probably go ahead and switch over to, no matter what though, I'm also able to investigate quickly. Nah, I don't feel like there's gonna be something else though, so yeah, we'll switch over to Chunky Kong quickly, because there was actually a green bunch of bananas that we can obtain. So I think that pretty much checks out there. And of course, there's another earthquake thing going on in the background, so we'll just skip along, and then I think we can probably deal with the next cavern section. And this time around though, we'll use Chunky Kong to activate the triangle instrument, so potentially we can able to actually take on the forms of probably is the most dangerous room. Because something tells me we need to do Metal Gear Solid, because relatively speaking, as you can see on these little searchlights, if you dare get caught by the searchlights, basically though, the get out voice will come into play, and you only have 1 second to escape, and you're pretty much not gonna guarantee to get out, so yeah, it's a bit dangerous though. So basically though, all you have to do in this part is to break the targets. And basically, once you're done breaking those 3 targets, then the actual Chunky Kong's pad did show up, and then you become invincible, and then you go straight to the middle of the room to take on another bonus barrel, which is of course Searchlight Seek. So yeah, we'll just go ahead and deal with this again, except now we need to hit for about 8 crab traps. So, but relatively speaking though, it's just about the fact that you have to get this accurate shots for that watermelons at them. So I don't feel like we can probably able to actually complete the cabin in this video, but definitely in the next video for sure, because I'll save the other like sections and the cabin sections for later, because well, after all, we've already done the Donkey Kong's cabin challenges and same applies to Lanky Kong, but we're probably gonna do Tiny Kong section after we're done with this though first. So oh come on, there we go. Whew, that was definitely a bit tricky though, especially because you have to be so accurate with all these aiming shots, as I said. So there we go, 147, so nicely done. And something tells me if you ever bring that weapon out, basically, it's so weird. Like, usually it's super weird and also hilarious at the same time. Whenever you bring out the weapon, while you turn into, like, Banana Gong, or, sorry, Gorilla Gong, as far as I'm meant to say. Because, relatively speaking though, that you're technically holding a gun while you're invincible or camouflaged. So, yeah, it's, some strange abilities aside. So anyways, let's switch over to Tiny Kong now, just to ensure that we will be able to take care of her cabin section. But first off, let me go ahead and fly straight towards it to make it act like a quicker way to able to actually get to this point. But yeah, I apologize if my camera take is a little bit iffy at this point today. Well, mind you, I've already explained quite a few bits here and there, but I will promise you I will mention more stuff and during at some point until next week if possible. So either way, we'll activate that. And now we can able to actually get into the actual cabin itself to take on, oh jeez, we actually stumbled across those familiar purple crab traps ever since in Fungi Forest, except what makes things a bit tricky though is the fact that with the actual arena itself is actually gone a bit more tricky. Oh, something tells me there's a banana balloon right there, which I'll probably have to sort this out once we deal with the actual crab traps first, so at least for some of them anyway. So we'll just you know what, I'll save that for... Oh god, that was close. I almost gonna die right there, but yeah, let's just bring this out. There we go. And now we can just simply... Well, you can't able to actually kill them with the actual normal weapons. You have to use the oranges in order to deal with them, so... There we go. We accomplished that. And that pretty much leads us to Golden Banana number 148. Nice. Nicely done for the most part. And I'm afraid to tell you for this point, guys, although, before we end off the video right there, I need to quickly switch over to Diddy Kong entering at some point. So, yeah, I think I should probably end things off here. So join me next time for more of Let's Play of Donkey Kong 64. It's the fact that we'll continue exploring through Crystal Caves by going through Diddy Kong's sections in the caverns. So I'll see you guys at some point on next Monday. Later, fellas.